Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Justin. We're back at the movies for another review, and today is October 1st, 2022, and we're coming right up to Halloween, less than a month away. So I figured, what better way to kick off October this year than reviewing what is argued by many to be the greatest slasher film of all time. For me, I'll still stick with A Nightmare on Elm Street, but I would never argue against Halloween. 1978 Halloween, directed by John Carpenter, starring Donald Pleasence and Jamie Lee Curtis. This movie is iconic. It's iconic in that you don't see the killer. You don't, it's in very much in the vein of Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's what you don't see that is actually scarier than what you actually see. And the suspense of the movie is what makes the movie so iconic. And the mask, the Michael Myers mask that has become so iconic. Jamie Lee Curtis in really what is her first big role is fabulous. She is if you had a Mount Rushmore of scream queens, Laurie Strode is one of them. I would have Nancy from A Nightmare on Elm Street would be on that list. Probably Sidney Prescott, and you can make your arguments for whoever, but I feel like Laurie Strode is always going to be on that list. Jamie Lee Curtis is fabulous, and so is Donald Pleasence. Who would have seen this coming? Like, I love movies, and I can recall maybe one or two other movies that I had seen by him before I ever saw Halloween. I didn't see Halloween until, let's face it, I was a wimp when I was younger. I'll be the first one to admit it. I was afraid of Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Freddy Krueger scared the shit out of me. So did, any horror movie scared the crap out of me. So I didn't really get into being a horror fan until I was probably in my teens. But he's amazing as Dr. Loomis. And if you don't know the plot to this movie, which I'd be hard-pressed to find many people who don't, Michael Myers kills his sister as I believe, 6-year-old child. She's in her teens already. He's 6 years old. He kills his sister, goes to a mental institution, and eventually escapes now that he's an adult. And he makes his way back to his hometown, Haddonfield, Illinois. And, he didn't get better when he was in a mental institution. Let's just put it that way. And he goes on a murder rampage. And this includes the likes of Jamie Lee Curtis's best friends and just anybody who gets in his path. And Dr. Loomis knows where he was going when he escaped. Dr. Loomis tries to warn the police that he's coming, and he's a really large human being, and it's going to be really hard to stop him. And sure enough, it is. And it culminates in basically a showdown between Jamie Lee Curtis's hero, Laurie Strode, and Michael Myers. And it's such an iconic ending, from Laurie Strode getting a coat hanger into Myers' eye. Myers, just sitting up a la 1990s Undertaker from professional wrestling to Dr. Loomis shooting Michael Myers numerous times until he falls off the balcony, and then when he goes to check for the body, it's gone. It's such an iconic ending, and it's truly an iconic movie. It's one of the all-time great horror movies. It really is. I still will take A Nightmare on Elm Street, but I would probably put it over Friday the 13th. Like, I feel like those are the three movies that really are like your baseline. Like everybody's trying to reach those movies. And for me, Nightmare's one, Halloween's like right there. And then I personally like part 2 and part 3 with the introduction of Jason. But with Friday, it's all those movies are very, very similar in that it's what you don't see that's more scary than what you do see. You don't see the killer in Friday the 13th until the end. You don't really get a good glimpse of Freddy. You get dark shadows here and there. And then, well, same with Myers. It's the heavy breathing. It's the camera angles. It's the atmosphere that makes these movies so iconic. And this movie's no different. It's so hard. Like, is it a great movie? Horror movies are extremely hard to make great movies. They can be iconic. They can be very, very good. And anybody who watches my channel knows that it needs to be over an 8 for me to consider it to be an all-time great. I'm going to give it one. I'm going to give it an 8.1. I don't remember what I gave A Nightmare on Elm Street. I know I've reviewed that movie in the past. If it's lower than that, I'd have to readdress it because I'd have to give A Nightmare on Elm Street a tad above Halloween. But 8.1, it's an all-time great movie just because of where it stands in its genre and, the legacy it has. So 1978's Halloween, 8.1 is my score. That's my review. If you like this video, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And I will see you guys next time at the movies. Take care.